Hey guys, Luke with Logical Lacrosse, and today I am here to say I am back. I had strep throat the past 2 weeks, so that's why I have not been doing my weekly special features for my game of the week. But today we're back into it as I'm covering the Johns Hopkins number 18 in the country at Michigan, the Big Ten opener for both teams. Really big game for both teams, so I'll be sure to get into that. So let's get into this. So, like all my special features, we'll start with the statistics and such before I get more into the game story. But it was a good game for a while, really close, and then Hopkins pulls away. So the final is 14-8. Michigan only getting 3 goals after the first quarter, and that really made the difference. It was 5-3 at the end of the first quarter, and then Hopkins goes on a 10-0 run in the second and third quarter. So, I mean, double digits just in 2 quarters. Michigan's offense not able to help the defense out. Michigan D played really well, but I mean, when your offense doesn't score in 2 quarters against a good team like Hopkins, I mean, it's going to be really tough to win, especially when you're still a very young program. But shots in favor of Hopkins, 48-31, with turnovers being good for both teams, 11 for Hopkins, 14 for Michigan. Ground balls really kind of shows how Hopkins really dominated, especially as the game progressed. 34 for Hopkins, 16 for Michigan. Face-offs, 17 for Hopkins, 6 for Michigan. They actually did face-offs with an LSM. I heard on the broadcast that actually their top 3 face-off specialists were injured. So I'm just going to go with what those guys said. Michigan's been dealing with a lot of injuries this year. A lot of people were kind of expecting them to be better this year, but the injuries really derailed them. They started out ranked 20th in the country in the preseason poll. Not like preseason polls matter that much, but I thought they were going to be a lot better. But they're dropped to 3-6, and they're 0-4 at home now, so really rough. But man up, another big thing. 4 for 9 for Hopkins, which isn't quite at 50%, but it's close enough, and especially it didn't really matter in this game. And 0 for 4 for Michigan. So not only did they fail to convert on all 4 of their man-ups. Now, granted, one of them was a 5v5, and they had 10 seconds of a man-up, so I'll give them a break on that one. But the fact they didn't convert on a single one really killed them. They had opportunities to get back in the game, and they just could not convert off of those. And it really got out of hand mid-third when they started getting penalty after penalty, and just the defense could only do so much. And that's why Michigan had 9 man downs. But my players of the game, we'll start with Michigan since they lost. I got Nick DiCaprio. He's a D-pull. The stats don't show it. He only had 1 turnover. It was an awesome turnover. It was a D-twigging. It was like Expelliarmus from Harry Potter. But he was everywhere. This guy was making so many plays on the defensive end. Shame that it didn't turn out better for him. And Finn Goonen, another defenseman, he was the LSM taking faceoffs. He was only 6 of 22 on the faceoffs and only won 2 ground balls. But he forced a lot of ground ball scrums, so Hopkins would win the faceoff, but then he kind of forced the ball out of the guy's stick, and then the wingers for Michigan would get the ball, especially early. He did really well. I thought he played well. And he also had a goal off of a faceoff, so that's pretty cool to see the LSM take the faceoff, win the ground ball, and score. So he's my other player. And third for Michigan, I got Gunnar Garn. He's a senior. This was his first start ever in his career, so that's really cool that a senior got to do that at home. I know they lost, but he had 15 saves. He had some really good plays. He had some rough plays too. His best play actually came after his worst play. He had a save. It was not a crazy. It was an easy shot to stop for him, and then he went to pass it up, and it went straight to Kyle Marr of Hopkins, and he runs down, and it's a 1v1 with him on Garn. And he shoots it, and Garn saved it. It was crazy. I couldn't believe he saved that. That was his best play of the game. But so pretty good performance for his first time ever started. And for Hopkins, I got Forey Smith, and he had 4 goals. He was really dominant. So was Kyle Marr, 2 goals, 2 assists, and Joey Epstein with 2 goals and 3 assists. Just the same guys you've kind of gotten used to if you've been following Hopkins this year. Really stepped up again, especially when Michigan came out with an early lead. Hopkins really then started to control the game with their depth and more superior talent. So they were able to do that, and these 3 guys were really the leaders of that movement for this game. But after kind of getting into the stats, I'll go more into the story now. And so it started out, as I said, first-time starter and in goal for Michigan. But then Michigan scores right away. They're on top, at the top right. If you're from the goalie's point of view, it was a nice little pass, and the guy wound. It was kind of like almost like a one-timer, not quite. and he shoots it from out far and scores, and that was pretty cool. And then Hopkins right away just gets the ball back, goes around X, scores 1-1. And a lot of ugly ground ball scrums early, which is what Coach Kevin Connery said he wanted out of Michigan. So they got what they wanted early. A lot of ugly ground ball scrums. Michigan won a lot of them. And Hopkins gets a man up then, and they score, open crease. Guy was wide open. I couldn't. I think they just totally a blown assignment there. And then Michigan has a feeder at X. He tosses it, passes it to the cutter. A goal for Michigan, 2-2. Then Finn Goonan, who I mentioned, scores off the face-off from up top, 3-2 Michigan. Michigan really favored the 1-4-1, especially early in the game. It felt like they got away from that later on when they really couldn't score. But then Hopkins had a crazy goal. The guy shoots it, bounces off the goalie, and then they catch the rebound, score. 3-3 is really, really competitive game early, if you couldn't tell. And then Michigan we're getting some really good skip passes. Great skip pass, and then Michigan scores off that. I think the feed was from Brent Noseworthy, number 15, who's back. He's another injured player for Michigan. He had a brace on his knee. Then Michigan using the 10-man ride to force a lot of turnovers. And then Michigan gets a goal right near the end of the quarter, 1v1 dodge around X, and they get right in the top corner. It's a crazy goal. It was great. It was actually good defense by Hopkins. It was just a really good shot. So you can't blame the Hopkins defenseman. So 5-3 at the end of the first, and then it totally changed. Hopkins scores right away, wide open on the right wing for the attackman. And then Michigan still playing good D. It's still close, but then Hopkins scores a 1v1 at X. I think this one was Joey Epstein. And then Hopkins scores. This is when the game really turned. They do a crease dive, and upon further review, obviously there's no reviews in college lacrosse, the Hopkins guy's foot was on the crease before he dove. But the refs missed it, and it counted as a goal. And that was just killer for Michigan, because Hopkins had all the momentum. They had the cool crease dive, which really shouldn't have counted. That's why they really need instant replay in collegiate lacrosse. But so Hopkins kind of gets one there that they really don't deserve. I mean, it would have mattered in the end, but that really changed the game for sure. Hopkins had all the momentum after that goal. And then to make it worse for Michigan, after Hopkins gets that goal that should have been a goal, they force a great turnover on the ride, and they score, but it gets waved off. It should have been waved off. They had 7 guys on the offensive zone. It was not offsides. It was a substitution error. So they get that goal waved off. I mean, that was probably about a defining moment of the game. That goal for Hopkins that shouldn't have counted. The Michigan getting their answer waved off. I mean, you could just feel the deflation go off of Michigan, and then Hopkins goes right down on transition right after when the ball goes back to them, and they score, makes it 7-5. 7-5 Hopkins at half, and I was kind of thinking, I know it was 7-5, but at half I kind of felt like the game was getting away from Michigan. They were really going to need to answer, because it just looked like Hopkins was really taking control now, and they scored right away to start the second half. Guy open on GLE, he catches it, pretty low angle, but he shoots it and gets the inside post. I noticed that they did get some inside post shots on Michigan's goaltender. So if he plays next week, which he did really well, he'll have to kind of watch for those. But then Hopkins, then here comes the kind of penalties I mentioned earlier. As I said in the statistics, Michigan had 9 men down. Then Hopkins gets a man up, they score. It was just a cut down the crease. The guy feeds them. Goal, 9-5 Hopkins. Then Michigan gets the man up, they failed. Michigan gets another man up, they fail right after that. Then Hopkins gets the man up, and they get the goal off the GLE, 10-5. I think that one was the non-releasable. There was a non-releasable one. There was a hit to the head, and it's a pretty obvious one. Oh, excuse me. I was thinking of the Syracuse Notre Dame game, but there was a hit in the back, and they called it unreleasable. I don't know, but I didn't know with that one. But it wasn't that's what they called. And then it's 10-5, and then this just killed. It was already 10-5. Michigan's D looked exhausted by this point. Then Michigan's doing the 10-man ride, and the pull for Hopkins, literally 75 yards out. 10-man ride, just passes it down, because that's how they're kind of clearing on. That's how a lot of guys clear on the 10-man ride. The goalie's out of the net, so the D pulls will just shoot it. down, usually miss the net, but the refs count that as a shot. As long as the attackman's close to the net, then they get the ball. That's kind of how you counter a 10-man rider. A lot of people like to do it. But this guy, he got it in the net to make it 11-5. And, yeah, just nothing was going Michigan's way. Hopkins really took control. I mean, they are the defending Big Ten champs, and they end their season at Penn State and at Maryland. That's what the broadcaster said. So, I mean, they had some urgency to win. This would have been killer to lose this game for them. And then right off that face-off after that goal, they win it right away. Pass, crease dive. This time he was not in the crease at all, but he scores 12-5. I mean, the Michigan D was burned. And then really garbage time, 13-5 at the end of the third quarter. And the fourth quarter was pretty boring. Just Hopkins, they were really classy. They just kind of killed the clock. Michigan got 3 goals. Didn't matter. It was 14-8, so 1 goal for Hopkins. So 14-8 was the final. You could tell the superior depth and talent of Hopkins really came through for them. Michigan, really kind of disappointed with Michigan. I thought they were going to be better this year. They've had a lot of injuries this year, but it really kind of felt to go downhill after that Drexel game. You guys probably saw the clip, especially if you followed like Inside Lacrosse or Lacrosse Cave on Instagram or whatever. But you know the Drexel D midi takes it coast to coast scores. I just felt I was not expecting that, and it feels like Michigan's really struggled. So they're 3-6 now, and that's a tough one for the Wolverines. Hopkins a big win for them. They were 4-4 going into this game, now 5-4. So a really good win for them on the road. Michigan looking to really staring down, missing the Big Ten tournament again. They've never made it. I thought this would be the year they'd finally make it, but it's not looking like it right now. They're going to have to improve and hopefully get some injured guys back. But that'll kind of sum up my takeaways from this game. So guys, that'll do it for my special feature on Johns Hopkins at Michigan. Again, the final score was 14-8 Hopkins. They really pulled away in this game. So I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'm sorry for being out for 2 weeks. Again, just had strep throat. I work at a school with the disabled kids, so you guys don't know, kids are pretty gross. Not taking a shot at the kids there, but a lot of germs. My immune system has definitely gotten a lot tougher this year working with children at the elementary school level. But yeah, that will conclude this video. If you guys liked it, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's greatly appreciated. I love it. Comment, whatever. You can even disagree with me. You can say, what are you thinking? You should have covered the Syracuse Notre Dame game or whatever. You guys can disagree. It's fine. I like the debate. But if you want more content like this besides my YouTube videos, please check out my Instagram or Twitter. They're the same name, logical_lacrosse. And I also have a website where I have more content like this. I just did my whole series on all the PLL roster reviews and the Olympic rule proposals. Not very popular, but that's all on the site. And my site is www.logicallacrosse.com. So again, thank you very much. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.